So copywriting always starts with your audience. It's not about you, not about your sales agenda, not about your offer suite. It's about the person on the other end. Copywriting in itself is knowing how to nurture, how to support your reader, and really how to connect on a deeper level to drive action.
Hi, I'm Charlene Oy, dietitian turned business and marketing coach, and you're listening to the Nutrition Business Show. I've been a dietitian for over a decade, generated millions online, and we've helped thousands of health professionals. So if you're looking for a smarter way to grow your nutrition practice and create online programs to scale your business more sustainably, then you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Hey, welcome back. You're listening to episode 13 of the Nutrition Business Show. And today I've brought on a special guest, Nadine, who's an audience-driven copywriter and customer experience strategist for online business owners. In our conversation, I asked Nadine some really important questions I hear come up from nutrition practitioners in business. Questions like, how do we create a high converting sales page and some of the key elements to include in your sales page? How do you get in the minds of your ideal clients and develop a bespoke strategy for different touch points in your funnel to build trust and turn your audience into paying clients? Nadine also talked about some really cool apps and software you can use in your website or sales page to understand your customer behavior and how they engage with your page, which can make a huge world of difference to your conversion rates. So if you want to build a standout brand with a loyal customer base, you definitely want to tune in to today's episode with Nadine. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nutrition Business Show. So today I have got Nadine. She is a copywriter and an amazing person that I've worked with in my business in the past. So I wanted to bring her on to chat a little bit more about copywriting and how it's important for you as a dietitian or nutritionist in business. So Nadine, welcome to the show.
Hey Charlene, so good to chat to you and be on the show.
Yeah, really excited to have you. Now, Nadine, for those people who don't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself and your business?
So, hi, I'm Nadine. I'm an audience-driven copywriter and CX strategist, so customer experience strategist for online business owners who are ready to attract, delight, and retain their dream customers more intentionally. So, really looking at every brand touch point in the bigger picture of your business, of your offer suite. And I've been in business close to 8 years by now, and I'm a mum of three, one-woman show, so I totally get what it's like to wear countless hats and have to do all the things in your business. So everything I do for my one-on-one clients, but also in my business, is designed to help you work smarter, not harder, and really work for you in the long run.
I love that, Nadine. I must say, as a customer myself who's gone through your funnel, I love how much thought you have put into having all those different touch points, going from someone who follows you on Instagram, going to your website, checking it out, to inquiring and then booking. I'll let you tell us what it is. I can't get the name right.
Yeah. Yours for a day session.
Yours for a day. That's it. Done in a day. Everything delivered, done and sealed in a day. I love it. And just, all the different touch points and emails and follow-up that you send. It is such a smooth experience as a consumer. But let's start with the copywriting side of things first. I want to chat about funnels later. For our listeners who are not familiar with this term, it can feel like a very salesy area where sometimes you get spammy emails from other companies and things like that. But copywriting, especially from your perspective and how you do it, is so different. So can you chat to our listeners a little bit about what copywriting is all about?
Absolutely. So copywriting, unfortunately, has got a really bad reputation. Yeah, mostly because there are the gurus in inverted commas who resort to sleazy sales techniques, really pushing you into making a decision, using false urgency and scarcity, which really is not what copywriting is about. When it comes to copywriting, I really regard it as a skill that uses words to connect with your dream customer and with your audience on a deeper level. And ultimately, it's designed to drive action. So action could be anything from obviously buying from you, but it could also be to sign up to your mailing list, to sign up to your course, to book a call with you. It's really the art of knowing what to say, when to say it, and knowing how to help your audience to connect the dots. So to help your audience to come to their own conclusion that you are that perfect solution and exactly what they need right now. And ultimately, really it's about being curious about your audience. So copywriting always starts with your audience. It's not about you, not about your sales agenda, not about your offer suite. It's about the person on the other end, so that reader. And if you learn the skill to lead with empathy and really being transparent about your agenda, so being transparent about what's on the other side of the words that they're reading, then it is really not pressuring anyone into buying anything. It is just an invite to take up your offer and experience your brand. So copywriting in itself is knowing how to nurture, how to support your reader, and really how to connect on a deeper level to drive action.
I love that, Nadine. You've really just packaged up and summarized copywriting so neatly. Obviously, put a lot of thought into this from your years of experience in the field. And I love how your approach is so audience driven and it's connecting with your audience through your words. And sometimes as a dietitian or a nutrition professional, don't have the skill set to know how to connect with our audience. So I'd love to chat a little bit more about how our audiences, dietitians, nutritionists, they might be naturopaths as well. How can they get into this and learn, do the research about their audience?
Yeah, so really it's not a rocket science. Once you understand how to structure that process and how to go about it, it's actually something you can automate and incorporate into your daily business processes to really gather new audience intel and audience insights on autopilot. So how I do it in my business, for example, and how I recommend it for my clients' businesses as well, is to incorporate a number of strategic questions in your onboarding survey and also your offboarding survey. So as a nutritionist, obviously you need to know from your clients what they're looking for, what they're struggling with, all those sticky situations that they're trying to escape from. And the point of completing the onboarding survey really is the perfect moment to throw in a few extra questions around what made them pick you over all the other options out there, really what they're hoping to achieve from working with you, and that bigger picture. So really tapping into that mindset when they are making the decision to work with you. And then on the flip side, you obviously want to know what they took away from working with you. So when you wrap up your service, your deliverables, send their nutrition plan, whatever that might look like, then is the perfect time to again capture that fresh mindset and those instant wins. So again, adding a few extra questions in that survey around instant wins, what has shifted in their mindset, and then it gives you fresh insights and also fresh material to use in your copywriting as well. So the beauty of asking your customers about their experience of working with you, the transformation, their pain points, is that you have first-hand insights to work with rather than your assumption. Because let's face it, we're all super close to our businesses. We think we know our customer, but when it comes to it, they're still individuals and everyone's story is just so unique that it is super, super handy to have their language, the words they're using to describe their situation, and those tangible wins that often we could never come up with. So as a copywriter, having worked with countless people in the nutrition and health and wellbeing space, there are so many sticky terms, I like to call them, that are so good that we can copy and paste them into the sales page copy, for example. And these are the golden nuggets that are priceless for not only your copy, so on your website, in your emails, but also, for example, in your content strategy on social media, because it allows you to address objections, all the things we uncovered firsthand.
So many good stuff there, Nadine, that I want to unpack and ask you some more follow-up questions about. So one of the key things that I got from what you were saying there is to ask your audience, because we don't want to go by our own assumptions. And I know that as clinicians, often We use a lot of clinical jargons in the way that we speak to people, in the way that we write. And we forget that there's a lot of people out there who don't quite know they've got a certain diagnosis, or they are struggling with what we call a condition that they've been labeled with. And so it's so important to ask those questions. So can you give us some examples of what specific questions we can ask, especially if we haven't gotten to the client stage yet? We have no clients, we're starting from scratch. What questions can we ask?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this instance, if you're just starting out, you're really trying to figure out how to package your genius and how to talk to the people that you love to support, I always recommend, basically hanging out where your audience is hanging out. So you can hop into Facebook communities, for example, where your dream customer is hanging out. You can ask on Instagram, for example. So post a link to your survey on Instagram as a Instagram sticker, link to the survey, invite people to participate, potentially incentivize completing the survey because we're all inherently selfish by nature. So dangling a little carrot often helps people to invest that 2 minutes of their time. And very important in that process, so rather than using tick boxes and drop downs to be able to quantify things, you really want to ask open-ended questions in this process, which might seem counterproductive from someone. If you look at surveys that you really want to be able to analyze and read between the lines, open-ended questions basically allow you to gather that amazing language we just talked about. So all those expressions, and it also means you're not steering people towards your assumptions. So often drop downs and tick boxes, again, are based on your assumptions, right? So you might be asking, why are you looking to work with a nutritionist? And having a tick box system, again, gives them options and boxes to fit into, whereas open-ended questions often come up with totally unique angles and perspectives that are so refreshing and so real and so rooted in everyday situations that they make your copy and your messaging just so much more relatable than, again, as you said, using your industry jargon and the language and the same terminology that your competition, in inverted commas, use as well. So that's my first piece of advice. Also, never start a question with why. So coming again from a personal angle here, we all remember our mum going, why did you do that? And that element of judgment that comes with it. So especially in the health space, like we're all stuck in some sort of rut. We all have our issues and we all have things we would love to address, but for some reason don't. So starting a question with why comes with that element of just a judgment straight away. So reframing a why question into what made you look for a nutritionist, for example, again, removes that element of judgment, holds space for people to share openly and honestly. And ultimately, the survey you want to put together is touching on, or should touch on, the during and the after. So if you have people that you can get to who have worked with a nutritionist or dietitian, even if it's not you, really tapping into that transformation and being able to piece things together. What happened before they worked with someone, the during, what did that process look like? How can you stand out from everyone else? How can you create an experience that is different? And after, very important here, so really tapping into tangible wins and the language to use in your messaging. As it happens, I've got a freebie. I'll just drop that in here because it's so relevant, a freebie for listeners, because I know it is so overwhelming and so confusing to ask the right questions because often you only get one shot at it. So I have come with a free gift, which are 10 strategic survey questions that I use in my one-on-one copy client projects and in my own business. And they are designed to set you up today with the strategic questions to ask to get started with your own copywriting journey.
Amazing. That will be super helpful. And I'll make sure to link that in the show notes as well. So thank you, Nadine, for that. And I love what you're saying here about asking the right questions, because we want to, and just to summarize what you say as well, hold that space to give people, help them feel safe really about coming to you. It's already a very private struggle that they're going through, and to come to someone who they have never met on the internet asking for help, it can be a really scary step. So I love how you thought about the early stage when someone first come to you and they reach out, what to do then, holding that space for them to feel safe, letting you know what they need help with without feeling judged.
That's the last thing we need, like where there's enough self-judgment in our lives. So it's really about giving people permission to open up without any hesitation. And starting that relationship on the right foot as well.
Yeah, and they may have been to other health professionals in the past where they have received a very different treatment and they felt judged in that process. So for them to feel safe and comfortable in that first interaction with you is so key. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Nadine, I want to dive into how, as dietitians and nutritionists, we can stand out in the online space and building our brand, because there are so many practitioners out there, so many businesses on Instagram in general. And we're not just talking about other dietitians, we're talking about other influencers and people who are experts in their own right. I'm talking about nutrition. And someone with a health issue might be thinking about working with someone, but they don't know who to go to. So how can we as health professionals, as nutrition professionals, position ourselves to stand out as the go-to person?
Yeah. So as you said, highly competitive market. Everyone's looking for someone to help, and it is just such a vulnerable space. So what I have seen work, particularly since ChatGPT AI has come onto, into our world, is really infusing your personality, your take on things, your perspective, and also your opinions on your content. So really not relying on the same teaching style content that is flooding the internet, your top 10 XYZs and 8 steps to do whatever, which clearly ChatGPT can speed up. And that's why there's such a growth in this type of content. What can make you stand out, again, is knowing your audience and what really resonates with them, what they need to hear from you, which you've covered in your survey. So you have done that groundwork. And then really tapping into that and being vulnerable and, again, holding space for people and really focusing on emotional content instead of that teaching style content, because people really don't need to be educated, I find nowadays. We've got Google, and especially, the Google rabbit hole, everyone finds conflicting information. You can find anything really, especially in the health space. If you have a headache, which might mean you have a million terminal illness things. All of a sudden. You can find whatever you want to find. And it's so conflicting, confusing. So what people are looking for in the health space is someone that they can resonate with. So someone that holds space, someone that shows up on a personal level, someone that shares their unique take on things and then leads with empathy. So again, tapping into the insights that you uncovered and turning that into emotional-led content that really primes your audience to be ready to work with you and to be ready to make that move on their health journey. And really, things that you can tap into, particularly in the health space, are busting some of those myths that they might be telling themselves or that they have picked up via their family and friends, normalizing those mental hurdles as well. As I said, we all want to change, we all want to be healthier, but it's that whatever's holding us back. So really normalizing that it's okay, you've got a busy life. So it's finding those steps that work for you inside your current setup and your current daily existence. And again, giving them an invite and an invitation to take that step with you. I think particularly since ChatGPT, showing up in person, vulnerable with your opinions and your unique take on things really is going to take you a lot further than taking those ChatGPT shortcuts.
Yeah, and 100% agree with that, because when I'm reading someone's content, I can tell when they've just copied and pasted something from ChatGPT. And I love using ChatGPT and use it daily in my work, but I use it as a starting point. And I always say to my clients, use it as an aid. You need to really understand your ideal clients and be able to connect that information that you're sharing with your brand and with your audience so they can feel it on that deeper level. And that's what's going to help grab someone's attention, go, oh, I want to read more into it because they're speaking to me. And often I said to you in the early stages of us working together, I have people coming to me saying, oh, what you're saying, it's almost like you're in my head, you know my daily challenges and struggles. And that's the kind of messaging that we all want to now so that people feel connected to your brand. And there are so many brands out there on social media, and sometimes people worry, and I hear my clients saying to me, oh, there's so many other fertility dietitians, for example. Why would they choose to work with me over someone else? And I think it comes back to your personality and who you are, how you teach something, isn't it? Would you like to expand a little bit more about this as well, Nadine, like about who we are as a health professional and person?
Yeah, totally. And like the same applies in the copywriting space. There are so many copywriters. It's really about putting yourself out there, talking about your approach to things, your frameworks, and people are going to resonate with you or they're not. And ultimately, my take on business, on copy as well, is your copy and your messaging is not designed to speak to everyone. If you try to speak to everyone, you are literally landing with no one. So really leaning into your personality, the way you like to work, the people you like to work with, and your framework as well, and packaging that into copy that really is almost isolating. So it sort of hooks some people, which are your kind of people, and it sends everyone else to the competition. And ultimately that means you're not wasting time on discovery calls that never were going anywhere in the first place. It just means you are working with clients that are ready to learn from you, ready for your approach. And you are not only setting yourself up for better client results, but you're setting your clients up for exactly what they're after and the transformation that they want to achieve. And coming back to that ChatGPT angle as well, and, touching on how you can use it in your business. The good thing is ChatGPT, so I'm totally for it. Shortcuts, ideation, it's great. I love even using it to analyze my audience intel. So luckily nowadays you can use ChatGPT to access your spreadsheets. If you have all your audience intel in one place, you can totally ask it to pick up themes, to come up with content ideas, to address any objections. So you can use the research that you've done for ChatGPT to then take it to that next step and come up with a list of objection, myth-busting topics that they have picked up. So it is super powerful to speed things up. You just can't skip that first step, as you said already, really getting to know your audience. And once you have that intel, ChatGPT can turn into a really powerful shortcut.
It is really clever, isn't it? I can't remember, is that available on the free tier of ChatGPT, or do you need the paid version to access it?
No, I think it's in the latest version. It's available on the free plan. I'm on a paid plan, but
same.
I'm pretty sure you can access that nowadays.
I remember.
And I mean, how much is ChatGPT a month? $30, something like that, not even.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you consider how much time you can save, I think it's a smart investment to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got to think about how we can work more efficiently in business as well. And that is an area that I find is definitely a tool that's worth paying for, because it helps to speed things up and it gives you much better quality outputs as well on the paid version. I remember attaching something to ChatGPT and saying, hey, can you analyze what this is saying and give it to me in simple layman terms? And it just saved me so many hours of research into this document. So yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, Nadine, I want to talk a little bit more about funnels, because you are an expert in this. Like I said earlier, you have got all the different touch points of a customer journey nailed. And so I love to pick your brains around this and share with our listeners what that can look like. So if someone finds you on social media, they're obviously going to hit follow. If they're the right clientele and they like your page, they're going to follow along. How do we take them then from someone who follows you on Instagram to a paying customer? There's going to be many steps of that customer journey. So can you talk us through what someone can expect to see in that funnel there?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as soon as they click across from social media to your website, it's really important to have an optimized website. There's no point doing all the nurturing and warming on social media for your website to really fall flat. So being crystal clear on, again, who you serve, how you can serve them, and the outcomes you can deliver, and packaging that into a website that really connects on a deeper level is super, super important. Usually that involves a homepage that touches on all the important points on your website, links to your about page, links to your service pages. If you have digital products like courses or a membership, for example, you would tease those on the homepage as well. So your homepage basically is that distribution channel, like the fast track to all the right pages on your website. And then it's super important to have sales pages / service pages that really hone in on the individual customer that will be interested in that particular service / digital product / membership. And again, that's where your research comes in handy. So your website needs to be hyper specific on those service pages. So tap into the mindset of your member. Then for your service, the one-on-one service, that would look very different as well. So really hyper personalize those for the particular mindset, and make sure you have call to actions on every page. So you don't want dead ends. You don't want people to arrive at the bottom of this amazing sales page that really spoke to them on a deeper level for them to not know what to do next. So have a call to action, whether that's booking a call, joining the membership, buying your course. And then very important, once you funnel them into that next step, you don't want to ghost them. That's really the start of the relationship. So for one-on-one services, you could send them your service guide. If you use a clever CRM system, you could automate that on the back end so it's instant. People don't have to wait for you to go to your inbox and actually send something through. You could also, which I'm a huge fan of, you would have been on the receiving end, Charlene, send a personal video message via Bonjoro, for example. So I'm a huge fan. And to be honest, the conversion rates from someone reaching out to actually jumping on that call and booking skyrocket once you receive a personal message, because it's just so unexpected. And again, it's something that's so easy, but will definitely make you stand out from all the competitors that take the, in inverted commas, lazy approach.
And it's so personalized hearing your name on the other end as well, that you've taken the time to send a message. So that tool, once again, is Bonjoro, and I will link that in the show notes as well for anyone who's interested in checking that out.
Yeah. So it's really about personal touches. Again, going back on everyone craving human connections and emotional connections in today's online world. So going above and beyond, even when it's not expected, really makes a huge difference, and also sets the tone for the relationship that's to follow. Obviously, people are contemplating investing in you. So you taking the time to show your face, again, potentially even overcome that slight hesitation to jump on the call with you, share your story, your issues, your problems that you want help with. It's so personal. So sending a quick message like that can totally break the ice before that call and the discovery call. And ultimately, it's about anticipating what your reader or prospect needs to hear from you. And again, that's where truly understanding your customer comes into the picture. So really knowing what they need to hear to take that next action step that you want them to take, whether that's buying from you, etc. So that can apply to your email funnels, to your onboarding sequence, really helping them take the next step and giving you an easy yes.
Absolutely. You talked a little bit about addressing any hesitations that they have as well, because they're obviously still in the stage of gathering information, they're contemplating, they're of course nervous about making an investment, because what if it doesn't work? And there might be someone who's invested in other programs or services in the past, so they are nervous about it. So can you talk us through some ways of how we can tackle those objections or help them feel at ease into taking the next step to work with you?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of addressing objections heads on, because otherwise they're going to come up on the discovery call, or even worse, they're going to try to answer those objections after the call, which usually leads to them not taking any action at all. So being totally upfront, even on your sales page, on your service page, in an FAQ section, for example, is perfect. So sections are designed to answer real questions, but you can totally help your reader in that particular section to find answers for their objections. So whether that's around, I'm too busy, I'm a mum of 3, I don't have time to cook healthy and shop organic, whatever that might look like. So you can add a question in the FAQ section going, how much time do I actually have to invest in this program this week? Or how much time and headspace does it take? So that is your way to help them overcome this mental hurdle before signing up or before considering booking a call with you. So FAQs are fabulous. You can also use it in your social media content, for example. So if there are certain objections and mental hurdles that pop up all the time, you can regularly put up a post that talks about exactly this topic, and you can touch on client stories, for example, so past clients who had exactly the same mindset they had to manage and how they overcome this and what the actual truth was. So you can totally turn that into amazing social media content that primes your reader to be ready to invest.
Yeah, that's really helpful, Nadine. I love how you're talking about repurposing and using the content in different avenues on your sales pages, on your website, on your social media content. It just helps to shift that mindset or address any hesitations that they have before working with you. Now, I want to go back a little bit and backstep, talking about the website, because you said something earlier on that is so key. You said to get specific on your website about who you want to help. And sometimes, well, a lot of times we get practitioners coming to us going, I'm in general private practice, so I kind of see everyone that comes through the doors. So they might already have a website for their private practice. So in that case, if someone is wanting to go online and create an online course or program, would you recommend for them to create a brand new website that's just specific for that niche area? Or can they just simply add a sales page to their general private practice website?
I think you can definitely add it to your existing website. It's just, again, positioning it correctly on the homepage. So setting the scene for people, what's behind the button once they click, what's behind that sales page. And very important, that sales page needs to be specific. So you can have a private practice website that speaks to your overall clients, and then the sales page is where you hone in on specific desires, specific pain points, objections. So that sales page is designed just for this particular reader. That means if you have several offers, several services, several ways of supporting your clients, it doesn't need a new website every time you launch a new offer. It really is just about being hyper-specific on each of those service or sales pages.
Absolutely. So they can have a drop down under their service page going to each individual offer. And so when they get to the sales page, I'd love for you to share with our listeners maybe 3 to 5 key things to consider in terms of elements to have on a sales page that helps them to convert. So one of the things that I often see is that when we get to a sales page, we've got all the navigations on top. So you can go to home, about, and all sorts of things. So is that an issue?
Ideally, you remove all the distractions. So you would remove the header, so the main navigation, and really lead with a strong intro, a strong promise, a course promise, what is being delivered as part of the course / membership, whatever that might look like. And then really guiding the reader to that logical yes. Again, as I said before, it's not about being pushy. It's not about guilting people into taking action. It's about supporting them to come to a conclusion whether this particular program is for them or it's not. So being totally transparent, I think, is super important. We don't want to lead with unrealistic promises. You can't lose 20 kilos in a week. So things like that, obviously being realistic, also setting expectations, particularly in the health space, that there is no magic pill you take. Like, you actually have to put the effort in and you have to commit to see results. And I'm a huge fan of stepping away from that, leading with the pain points, with the struggles. People who land on your sales page are aware they're having a problem. So I don't think we need to agitate their current situation much more. I love to flip things around and really start with the ultimate desire. So really helping them paint a picture of where they could be if they take the right steps and if they make the right moves. And then following that up with the things that are currently standing between them and seeing those results, and helping them realize that it's not necessarily their fault that they haven't taken action yet. It might be that life's busy, kids are busy, there are too many priorities competing for their attention. And it's really just presenting your course, your program as that solution. So that works a treat because it sets people up with a positive mindset when they're reading the page and when they're landing on the page, rather than going deeper and deeper into this desperation that they are trying to escape. So that's very important. Also super important, but also forgotten, is to add social proof. So testimonials, client results throughout the page. That can be screenshots, for example. So if you chat in the DMs with your clients and they go, oh my God, I have to tell you, this happened today. I feel amazing. This is the first time I've seen these results. Ask for permission, and often people are more than happy to feature on your page, but ask them whether you can share this with your audience as well, because it's so amazing and you want to celebrate them. And that just gives it that extra level of authenticity, because again, today's online world, we're hesitant to trust people because we have been burned far too many times. And there are all these courses promising outcomes and deliverables and results that simply don't eventuate. So including screenshots just makes it a lot more authentic than a typed up testimonial. And ultimately, having those raw, excitable moments on your sales page lets your customer and your student, your client, do the selling for you. It means people see for themselves what's possible if they put in the work. Another big one is, obviously you need to get people to trust you. So you need to share your expertise, what makes you qualified and perfectly positioned to support them. But ultimately, the sales page should be all about them. So make sure you take them on that journey, where they could be, what's standing between them and those results, and then how each of your components of your program or service is going to take them that step closer. So link a so what, why should they care, why is this important to every component, and help them see for themselves, picture themselves in the future like that. This is actually what could make a real difference to their situation.
Yeah. I love how you summarized it at the end as taking your customer, your reader, on a journey as they progress through your sales pages. There's obviously different sections that you teach and I teach in our programs as well when it comes to writing a sales page. And ultimately, it's not about us and what we're selling. It's about your customer and what they need. And when you do a really good job with your sales page, that's when someone at the end of it will know if this service or program you're selling is right for them. And just a few little extra kind of strategic tips as well in terms of call to action buttons and countdown timers and things, little things like that, Nadine, which can make a big difference. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, so countdown timers absolutely work. Humans need urgency to make a decision. So we are by nature lazy. We don't like discomfort and getting out of our comfort zone. So if it comes to a decision, a timer can make a total difference. Obviously, it needs to be genuine. So we can't have those timers that reset every 20 minutes whenever you land on the page. It needs to be genuine. Oh, you'd hope so. But then it's the worst. So it needs to be genuine. Same with scarcity as well. So if you have a limited number of seats in your program, that needs to be a genuine scarcity. So you can't just put a cap and then raise it every time someone else wants to join. And when it comes to call to action, so scatter those throughout the sales page. What I love to do, particularly on long sales pages that keep going on and on, scatter buttons throughout the page. But then what you can do towards at the top of the page, you can just take people to the summary. So that inclusion, the features section that stacks things up against each other. So where you have your pay in full column, your pay month by month, and stack things up. So if you have any bonuses as well, make sure that you make them visually appealing. So obviously the better program, the VIP program, needs to look more appealing by making the space bigger, and it needs to be clear that they get more by paying in full, for example, or upgrading to VIP. And yeah, make sure you structure your page in bite-sized sections as well. So I have seen countless sales pages in my time where clients come to me and go, my sales page isn't converting. I don't know why. And it's just walls and walls of text. So you need to really break things down for people. People are not going to spend 20 minutes. It's very rare they do. 20 minutes reading every word on your sales page. So you need to maximize your headings, your subheadings for people to really pick up the gist of things as they scroll, and use visuals strategically. So mock-ups are great. It's ultimately a combination of visuals, of words, and of UX, so user experience, where it's easy for people to follow and to absorb, because we're all busy and we scroll, absolutely, unfortunately.
And a lot of us are looking at social media, for information on our mobiles these days. So another tip to add to that is do check what your sales page looks like on a mobile view as well, because I've certainly seen sales pages, like you said, big chunks of text after text. And sometimes the text is quite small too, or pictures are like misaligned and things like that. So really important to make sure, what looks good on a mobile, on the desktop will look good on the mobile as well. But those are really juicy tips, Nadine. Anything else you want to add to that?
I've got one more, again, as a customer experience strategist. I love nerding out on actual watching customers engage with my content and with my website as well. So there are systems that can record sessions for you. So if you have an existing program, a sales page that is just not converting, you can install certain systems on the back end of your website, like Hotjar, for example, where they see exactly where people click, where they pause, how they're scrolling your page, how many visitors engage with a page up to this point, where they drop off. It is super, super handy to know, that potentially the most important aspect of your sales page only is seen by 10% of visitors. So something like that is super handy if you have a sales page and you just know something's not right, it's not converting, and it might help you shuffle things around and move more important messaging up to the top, for example.
Excellent. Really good tip. I will link that in the show notes as well. So once again, it's Hotjar. Nadine, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I just have a couple more questions, especially for our listeners who haven't invested in a copywriter in the past and they may be thinking, should I DIY? Should I get some help? So at what point should they consider hiring a copywriter versus doing it on their own?
Yeah, I'm transparent. I hate how, especially new business owners, are being sold into this illusion that they have to have a top-notch website when they launch and they have to, invest in professional copy when they first launch. I strongly believe to DIY until you are crystal clear on who you actually enjoy working with. So the type of customer that lights you up. Also, the way you like to support your customers, the type of service, the type of courses, whether it's a membership. So really settling into your business and getting a feel for what works for you, what works for your customers. And again, really being in a position that you go, yes, I think I know my niche. I think this is it. Because that's when you can then be super strategic and work with someone like me who can be, your audience research pro, who gets to know your existing customers, your dream customers that you want to niche in on, and then turn that into messaging that really converts. So there really is not a big point to spend thousands of dollars at the beginning of your business, because chances are a few months down the track, we've all been there. We're not serving anyone anymore. It's not everyone and it's not bespoke for everyone. It's exactly what lights you up. So until that time, I would totally start with a survey as well. So still get your head around what your audience needs, even if it's a bit broader, and then really taking stock to see, once you're in that sweet spot and you are pretty confident that it's going to stay like this for a while, that's when I would reach out and have a look at the copywriters out there. There are obviously a lot of different budgets, different approaches as well. So really seeing what approach you want and how deep you want to go. So whether you want to do that audience research piece and really then go beyond the copy and repurpose it for your content, potentially evergreen funnels, really being super strategic about it, or whether you still are not quite sure, that means you could still go with a copywriter who uses your intel and implements that for you. So I always recommend following a few copywriters online. So really seeing who you resonate with. Again, it's the same approach, isn't it? Seeing whose framework you like, whose approach you like, signing up to their mailing lists and being in their universe for a while, and then definitely jumping on a call and seeing whether you vibe with them. So often I feel it's a gut feeling. So people talk to you and they just know that's the right person. But yeah, it's really a big investment. So I think you need to be clear on what you want and how you want to get there and who you want to do that for you.
Absolutely. So it's getting those foundations set up first, knowing who you help, what problems they're facing, getting that market research data in so that they can come to you already with a program or an offer created so you can help them optimize it. So it sounds like what you do is a lot about optimizing and just really refining it so it gets laser focused into hitting straight the nail on its head about what your offer is, your funnels and your audience intel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There are copywriters who take what you have and they do what you ask them to do. My approach is somewhat more strategic. So it's really about questioning as well, your approach. So everyone obviously has an idea that I need a sales page and I need 5 emails to launch this thing. So it's really about questioning whether that is actually the right approach and whether there is potentially a better way to do it so it can work for you long term. Yeah, having someone on your team, even if you're a one-woman show, to really be as passionate about your business as you are.
Yeah, because you're inviting someone into your world. The heads are in your business and they're developing something that is very personal to your brand as well. So you want to make sure, they're fully on board, they get you, you can vibe, and your approach is similar as well. So I love that advice. Thank you, Nadine.
Yeah.
And just one last question, Nadine. You have been a business owner. You said, is it 8 years now? So it's been...
Yeah, coming up to 8 years.
I'm 6 years, so it sounds like a long time. But we've seen so much evolution in this space, which makes it so exciting because it's never the same. Our job, no 2 days is the same. So I'd love for you if you have any advice as a business owner to business owner in terms of mindset or strategy or anything that you can offer to our audience.
Yeah, I have a few. I would say, especially for new business owners, it's so tempting to look at your competition and follow all the people in your space. I always say, don't start with your competition, but start with your customer. Don't follow everyone in your space because ultimately you're going to be tempted to follow their lead and everything starts to sound the same. So ideally, don't consume too much content from your space so your perspectives stay fresh, stay relevant. And then put your personal spin on things and totally own it. I know it's hard at the beginning to have that confidence to put yourself out there, but again, believe in your skills and your angle, your unique perspective on things, and let the competition be the competition. And my second one is from a female perspective. So early on in my business, I was got pretty much all the time. And then I came across a book by Kate Northrup, Do Less it's called, which really blew my mind because I'm a woman in my early 40s. And until that time, I had never really heard about working within your cycle. So we've got 4 very distinct phases. So I have since tried to implement a calendar that really respects the area or the cycle, the part of my cycle that I'm in, to book meetings on certain times. Same as podcast interviews, for example. I book those when I'm more outgoing and sociable. Obviously not always possible, but it is so important, especially for women, and we can really support how our body feels and how we create by being smarter and working with our cycle. So that's something to check out.
I love that perspective, because we have to respect how women are a little bit different to men as well in the way that we work and function. And depending on time of the month, PMS could be really getting us, and our energy levels are on a dip. And so it's hard to find time to be creative and force ourselves to do the best work.
Yeah.
So that's really good advice. Can you say that name of the book again and I'll link it?
Yeah, Do Less by Kate Northrup.
Okay. She's an Australian author, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other pieces of advice?
Really, again, there's nothing wrong with DIYing. There's so many experts, in inverted commas again, saying you have to build a team, you have to outsource. There's nothing wrong with DIYing. And when it comes to copy as well, I find really getting your head around how it works and doing that research yourself means once you're ready to outsource, it actually allows you to sense check what the copywriter produces for you and to really understand the principles behind the copy, the mechanisms, and why it works. Ultimately, you can't tweak things that you don't understand. So really doing things at the beginning of your business is going to set up for success long term.
Great advice. That's what I suggest to my clients as well. You're going to get in there, get your hands dirty and really get to understand your brand, because no one else will understand your business or your ideal clients as much as you do. and you can tweak and optimize what you don't know. So I love that. Thank you so much, Nadine. You have been such a wealth of knowledge and so generous in sharing all the tips and strategies as well. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Now, if our audience wants to connect with you further, what's the best place to connect with you?
Yeah, probably my website, candocontent.com, or you can connect with me on Instagram at candocontent. And yeah, drop me a DM if you want to chat all things customer experience and copy.
Nadine's really friendly. I promise she doesn't bite. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Once again, thank you so much, Nadine. And thank you to our listeners as well for tuning in this week. I hope that you have gotten lots of valuable insights from today's conversation. And till next week, I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.